But then if we go to the stock market, and that's where we're coming with some of these issues, we're losing shares since February, and I'm not really getting comfortable with that.
I feel like with the stock market, what's happening now is that the stock market is actually trying to find its balance right now. You know, with the January effect having an impact, a significant impact on the stock market. Right now, we're trying to find an equilibrium level, you know, for some of these stock prices.
Because the January effect did not happen in December and January. Now it's happening in February.
Yes. So it's more or less like a delayed impact on the on some of the stocks, some of the stocks that are actually traded in the stock market. But right now, I think it's going to be a temporary situation with the stock market. At some point, it's a market that moves up and down. It's not something that just stays the way it is for now. And some of the investors that have actually invested there, you know, it's part of the game of investing within the stock market.
Next money, go away, come back again,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah.
What's on the screen right now talks to a few companies in the consumer goods space, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some of these companies actually use palm oil in their final products. I can see Honeywell there, Flammies, I'm sure. Dangote Sugar does not use that, but
Unilever.
Unilever uses palm oil. I'm sure some part of the Dangote group uses palm oil for what they call the pasta and a few other things.
Yes.
So what's this big story around the palm oil? It came out a few days ago on social media, on Twitter, and started trending that palm oil could be much better than crude oil.
Yes, so palm oil is actually very interesting in the sense that the palm tree itself, from the trunk to the stem, or to the leaves and to the fruits it bears, everything is actually important. Like, they can be traded. You know, sometimes we actually use the trunk to actually contribute to, you know, building materials. You see some of them using the trunk for the foundation of some houses. You see that.
For some old bridges.
Yeah, exactly. And also with the stem within the leaves, some of them actually peel them out, dry them, and we use them for brooms. So those are the important things that we use, you know, the palm trees for. So the palm trees are actually very, very important. Right now, Nigeria is currently a marginal player within the industry. A few years back, in the 1930s to about the time when we got our independence, we're actually the #1 producer of palm oil within the market. But right now, we're actually #4, with Indonesia and Malaysia overtaking.
I thought you were not going to break my heart with that story, but continue.
Yeah, yeah. So they've overtaken us. Why? Because at that time, crude oil became the more significant, more beneficial, you know, commodity to actually invest in. And right now, we're seeing the effect of that and seeing why we should actually focus on some other agricultural products compared to, you know, crude oil for now.
If you look at the EIU there, and that's part of your team, the Economic Intelligence Unit projected a 2.7% increase in global palm oil consumption in 2017-2018 period, and prices to decline by 8.3% this year. So if we look at the next one in terms of the usage, the varieties, what we call the derivatives of a palm tree beyond palm oil, beyond that oil. That tells a lot of what economic value chain we're sitting on that we're taking advantage of.
Palm oil can be used for so many things. Sometimes you hear it and you're like, wow, there's actually palm oil inside this. You know, we use it for margarine, detergent, soaps, so many other things. Even Indomie. Cosmetics as well. Indomie as well is another product that actually consumes a lot of palm oil. But right now, we only have 2 major players within the industry, Presco and Okomo, who are both doing well. But I think you hear sometimes they complain about the fact that a lot of palm oil is also imported within the country. If we produce so much, why should we be importing?
Over the last few days, of course, always Twitter takes some of my time. But again, that's where some of the conversations are about whether we should go for an outright ban. Right now, what we have is the FX restriction on imported finished palm oil or processed palm oil. Some folks are saying we should just go for an outright ban. Some folks believe that, well, we don't have the right output yet, and that if the price of imported, if things improve globally, we might see a bit of a fallback in this euphoria for domestic palm oil. What do you think?
Well, I think the government, it shouldn't be a hasty decision to create a ban on palm oil right now. Why? Because you need to solve the problem within the country. increase the production of palm oil within the country before, you can't just create a ban when we don't even have enough to, satisfy the demand within the country.
Which means a total import ban.
Exactly. So, but the total import ban shouldn't come until we have solved the production issue within Nigeria.
So we need more than just 2 big names.
Yes, exactly.
We need a few other palm oil
Because right now,
their
production is not even enough to cover the demand within the country. And that's why you see people
a quick one. Let's use the second page of that, if you can get that put up, to look at where the producing states in Nigeria, and some folks may want to go into that business if they're listening to Bolanle Olutosin here about what is going on. So let's just put up that page, and that's it for you there, Bolanle, about the major producing states for palm oil in Nigeria.
Yes. So we have Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, Abia, even Delta as well. I don't know if you've traveled to Delta.
Oh, yeah, Delta. You got to worry. It's all the way you drive down.
Exactly. You see a lot of palm oil there. But, the same thing with farmers. Farmers usually complain, they don't have enough funding within the system to, actually produce the palm oil. And I think palm oil takes about 4 years to grow, or the palm tree actually takes about 4 years to grow.
So even if I started a palm oil estate by this time, even with my age, I could still live long to reap the benefits of it, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
While I drink palm wine before the palm oil comes out. Palm wine, isn't it from palm oil? From the palm tree? Yeah. We didn't talk about that. But that's something. Bolanle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whatever you're doing with your palm tree, whether it is palm oil or palm wine, let's get back into agriculture, shall we?